First, if you have ever wanted to learn how to hand quilt, you can. Stephany Brown hosts a free hand quilting workshop at the Briarwood Art Center, and she is here joining us today. We're going to get a little preview of some of the stuff you do, so thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Angela. I'm enjoying being here.
Well, I have to say, what you have brought is just beautiful. Did you make this yourself?
I did. I made this quilt, took about over a year to do, totally hand stitching, never touched a machine. But it's a very peaceful and calm way to quilt, and I love it.
How long have you been doing this?
I started quilting by hand regularly in 2005, but Big Mama taught me how to quilt in 1981.
Wow, Big Mama. We do have a photograph right here we'll take a look at, but tell me a little bit about Big Mama and her influence.
Yes, indeed. Big Mama was born in 1907, and she was a hand quilter. Her mother and grandmother taught her how to quilt. And so she passed that tradition on to me when my family lived with her briefly, and she showed me how to quilt her way by using cardboard as your pattern, by getting old flour sacks and making your pattern and cutting it out and piecing it together and so on. So she taught me the old-fashioned traditional method.
Yeah, I don't think many people use flour sacks anymore.
No, they don't.
So what do you use when you make yours now?
I use a needle. I use thread. I've started recently embellishing with buttons and yarn and embroidery floss. So that's basically what I use.
How do you make your patterns or decide what you want it to look like?
It comes in my mind. You know, I create, but then also I start with traditional African patterns that were in the Underground Railroad patterns.
Wow.
I used those, but kind of put them in a more modern twist. So a lot of these patterns that you see were African patterns using the Underground Railroad, like the bow tie, the North Star. So that's what I use.
Now I know you host workshops to teach people. Are you going to show us right now how easy it is for people to learn how to do this?
Oh, definitely. And when you come to the workshops, you don't have to bring anything. Just bring yourself.
Nice.
And we have fabric and things, but generally I like to put a glove on my hand because it helps my hand and it's comforting.
Okay.
So I always sew with a glove. And then you just take the needle and the thread, and I'm using my hand at the bottom as a guide, and you just stitch up and down.
Up and down.
Up and down.
Well, that sounds
and
easy
then
enough.
pull it through. That's all.
That's all.
That's all.
Is it really time consuming? Because you mentioned you've been working on this one for about a year.
Yes, this one, I've worked on this one for a year, but the longest it's taken me is 18 months. Now, I met a really fine machine quilter, and she says to me, boy, I made 18 quilts in 1 year. And I'm saying to myself, I made one quilt in 18 months. But now that was the longest. This quilt was 6 feet by 7 feet.
Wow.
So it was, a huge quilt. And this one's probably 6 feet by 6 feet or something like that. But the thing about quilts made by hand, it's like having a cup of chicken noodle soup and you're not feeling well and you wrap up in it. They're very soothing and very comforting, and you can feel the difference. When you stitch and you put the stitch in your fabric, it's like putting the soul. I look at stitching as the soul of the quilt, because without it, it's just basically plain. But when you add all those stitches in it, it just comes alive.
It's made with love.
It's made with love. And the person, the beholder, really feels that love.
Certainly.
They can feel it.
And everybody likes to wrap up in a comfy quilt as well.
Definitely,
Yeah.
especially when the weather gets chilly and cool.
We're starting to feel that.
We're starting to feel that. It's the perfect time to learn how to quilt now.
Well, tell everybody how they can come and learn how to do this. Because, I mean, you just showed us it is really easy. So how can they learn from you?
Well, come to Briarwood's Presbyterian Church. Pastor Charles has been so kind and opened it up for us, because we're affiliated with the BAC, Briarwood's Art Center, but we meet at the church next door because we can spread out and we have room to stitch and sew and talk and commune, and just we're a sisterhood and a brotherhood. Everybody can come. It's all free. Children come, and we just enjoy ourselves and learn from each other.
All right. Well, thank you for being here with us today, and
Thank
thank you for
you.
bringing these beautiful quilts. And I just cannot wait to see what everyone makes at your classes this year.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.